What does it take to really get stuff done? So here's how this is going to work. We'll start with some of the bigger questions about efficiency in filmmaking, and then we'll just finish up with some quick-fire practical tips that anyone can do. But first, let me set the scene. The other day I went out for a run and I came across this amazing landscape. The colours were perfect and the sun was setting, so you got this really nice light, and the composition of the whole thing was really, really impressive. And then I just happened to see this rabbit come past, and the rabbit was backlit by the sunset, and the whole thing just looked amazing. So my first thoughts as a filmmaker are regretting that I didn't have a camera out so I could capture this really nice moment. But that got me thinking. So if I were to go back there tomorrow and wait for a similar scene to come out with my camera, then maybe tomorrow it'll be cloudy. And then I go back the next day and the light's right, but there wouldn't be any rabbits. Now let's imagine that on the third day, after waiting for 6 hours, the light is perfect and the rabbit comes by. Now, providing I didn't make any mistakes, then I could have a really nice shot of a rabbit. But I start thinking, would that be a worthwhile use of my time? Now, obviously that depends on a lot of things, but I start thinking, well, I could have made some serious progress on a script during that time, or I could have filmed an entire DSLRguide episode. So I guess what I'm saying is that spending a lot of time on something doesn't guarantee that it'll be good. It's more about what you spend the time doing rather than how much time you spend. So is it vital that you film so many scenes outdoors when you know that you're going to have to wait for the light to be right and that you're going to have to stop every time an airplane comes past? Is that complicated CGI character really necessary for your film when you know it's going to take up months and months of your time? But of course there are plenty of times where it's absolutely necessary to spend a long time on one certain part of a project. You really do have to just weigh it up. So for example, very recently I've started using jump cuts. But what I've found is that by filming things in small chunks, I can focus on what I want to say right now rather than trying to desperately remember what I've got to say next. And that, I think, resulted in me talking as if I was reading from a teleprompter. And the crucial thing here is that I can also save time by filming like this, which means I've got more time for writing and thinking about what I'm going to say, which I personally think is the most important part of these episodes. Now, the other big part of efficiency is preparation. Forgetting to shoot or write a scene can cause you hours of headache in editing. One boom pole coming into the shot can give you hours of work in visual effects. The same applies earlier on. If you spend a good amount of time in pre-production planning out every single shot, then you won't keep people waiting on set as much. Now for some quick tips. Number 1, store your equipment in a way that you can grab stuff and go really quickly. Make sure that the main things you use all the time are grouped together and not hidden away in a cupboard. Number 2, don't let your equipment slow you down. If you've got a crazy rig that takes ages to set up and then you've got to mess with the battery on your external viewfinder, ditch it. Don't let your equipment slow you down. Number 3, delegate. A great place to start is to find someone who can be your producer. They don't even have to have a film background necessarily, they just need to have good people skills, good organisation skills, and be good on the phone. A strong team should be able to have some people working on the lighting, some on the sound, while the director is talking with the actors, and the producers setting up the next shot, all happening at the same time. That's efficiency. And finally, when you're editing, make sure you keep all of the files from that one project in one folder. That way, when you want to move your projects to a different hard drive, back it up, or transfer to a different computer, it is so much easier than trying to find a whole bunch of files which are scattered all over your desktop and all over your computer. That honestly has saved me so many hours of file searching. So linked below you'll find the blog post which has got some extra tips as well as some other videos which are related to productivity. But let me finish by asking, do you have any rabbits that you're waiting for? Anything that you're spending a long time on unnecessarily? Time is short, so why not think of the things that will make the biggest difference to your films and spend as much time as possible on those. My name's Simon Cade, this has been DSLR Guide. I'll see you next week.